I'm doing all right.
I was having a little trouble with my computer this morning, just like Murphy's Law, but somehow
Yeah.
it fixed itself. I don't understand computers. I never have. I use them.
Ugh.
They're kind of
You
like their
don't.
own thing. They're going to
You,
take us over one day anyway. I've seen Terminator. I know what's about to happen. Welcome to the first edition. I've done a couple of these now. This is the first edition of Musicians on Couches Drinking Coffee. Let me get my coffee. So let's get started. Anyway, I'll do a little intro before this. That's how I usually do it, and tell about who you are. And you've got so many credits. You know, you've done so much recording and playing live. And my connection with you first came from Karen Lovely, right?
Karen.
And when she called me originally to do like her regional shows here in Michigan, and I did a bunch of them with her and this other bass player, Joe Veloz.
Yeah, Joe.
You know Joe?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's a great player. And I do a lot of we did a lot of recording together. We kind of work a lot as a team, him and I.
Oh yeah.
For whatever reason, we even did Drew Abbott's Bob Seger's bass player. We did his CD.
Oh, okay, cool.
But Drew said he only really made it for his kids, so no one's ever going to hear it.
Aw,
So it was a lot of fun.
that's sweet though.
I got to know you when I went online to watch, you know, because I did a couple of tours where you listen to the recordings and they're kind of poppy, subdued, and then you get on stage with them and they're a rock band. You know, they're not doing anything. So I wanted to see Karen's live versions, and you were on a bunch of them. Not only the bass playing, but the vocals and the grooving, because you know pocket is everything. And then as I started to do this, I made a list of people I wanted to talk to, and even though I'd never met you, I wanted to talk to you anyway. And I figured Karen Lovely would give me an in. So
Oh, that's cool. Right on.
I mean, at least maybe you've seen me play with her on video or something. So
Right on.
So I read some stuff on you. You came from West Virginia.
Yeah. Originally.
Yes, that's where it started. So this is a conversation. Let's go back. So
Okay.
when did you move to the West Side, Portland? About when in your lifetime did that happen?
Well, my parents divorced. I was probably 8 years old. And my mom actually moved to Oregon because her sister lived out here. So she basically built a nest. And then a couple of years later, or about a year later, actually, brought my sister and I to go live with her. So, and then I went back and forth a few times, stayed in West Virginia for another year after that. But, you know, I haven't been to West Virginia since I was like 15 or 16 years old. But if I get tired or I'm singing or something, it still comes out, and there's certain words that.
Yeah. That's it. So were you playing? I mean, what were you playing already? Where you started taking lessons? Was it bass first you started in, or did you play?
Well, yeah, I remember I used to love to sing along with my mom's records and my dad. My mom had like the Judy Garland records and Barbra Streisand and Ema Sumac, and I used to sing along with those records. But my dad, and my mom too, but my dad more, had Deep Purple, Machine Head, and Cream, and Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin, and stuff like that. So I was attracted to the bass of that music, you know. And so I started, I don't know why, I heard the bass lines, whatever, even if it was in a movie or on a commercial or AM radio, I would just hear the bass line. And so the first thing I plucked out on my mom's acoustic guitar were songs from Deep Purple, Machine Head, and it was Space Trekkin' was the first song. So I wanted a bass, so I saved my lunch money and I walked home from school every day in 7th grade. This is when I was back in West Virginia, and I saved my lunch money and I bought my first bass, and I still have it. I just had to be a bass player. I don't know, it's weird.
I hailed in New York City, and I got a paper out, and I saved money to buy a Japanese drum set called Zimgar.
Wow.
Don't know who they are or where but I got them for, it was $150. And this is when I was 12. So $100 might have been $6 million at that time. So
This is a Japanese copy of the Beetle bass. It's a violin-shaped bass. It's a Japanese copy as well. And it was in a pawn shop for $237.25.
No, so it was Rickenbacker style, like Paul did.
No, well, no, it was like the Hofner.
Oh, all right.
It looks like it looks like a violin.
Yeah. So so you started playing the bass, and then when you got out to Portland, you already felt you were a bass player, or that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, in school. I mean, I played trombone parts in the school band.
Oh.
In like 8th grade, So, and I was playing bass at home, and see, I was into this proto rock stuff, and just I'd play along with like Fred Meyer grocery store commercials and stuff on TV. But one day, a friend of mine gave me a copy of Iron Maiden Killers, and that was it. I was off to the races, and it was Iron Maiden all the way, and I'd sing and play Iron Maiden. And Rush, I was really into Rush, so I was more into, and Ozzy, Bob Daisley, was more into rock and hard rock.
So,
really,
I spend a lot of time when I'm doing these interviews listening to your stuff, and I listen to stuff you did with other people, and of course I listen to rewatch some of the Karen Lovely stuff that you did.
Yeah.
And I really had a great time when I did 2 tours with her, actually. One here, and then she was in Florida with her at some point. And I played with Gary Davenport, was on bass.
Gary Davenport. I don't know if I know him.
He played with Geneva Magnus for a long time.
Oh, okay, I know him. He's great.
Yeah.
He's super.
And, but listening to your original stuff. So one of the songs that I really liked of yours, so here's the thing, when I get cruise ships, for 7 years, and that's an experience if you've ever done that. And I was a music director, right? I was told by the other music directors that I was a rock drummer who swang well. And they liked that for the big bands because it was more powerful. And I agree. There's a lot of guys like that are really rock drummers. Even Buddy Rich was really a rock player, but he swang and he played Hour was that rock kind of thing.
And Belson.
Prayer for a Junkie.
Oh, Pray for the Junkie, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got those blues roots when you listen to what's the other one? The Monkeys Gotta Go. What's the?
Oh, it's the Monkeys or Me.
Monkeys or Me. Great tune. You got that Cajun thing happening. But when I hear Pray for the Junkie, I'm hearing that's a rock tune. That when you get to that chorus, you guys are rocking out. That goes from that kind of 12/8 blues to that rock 6/8, and I'm hearing that heavy metal rock in you and in your writing and even in your vocal stylings, which takes me to coming up. Were you playing around? Was your mom into this for you? Was like my mom was telling me to be anything but a musician. She please don't do this. But unfortunately, because I'm Italian and the more she said no, the more I said yes. So your story in that, was mom saying no, go play, or was she saying, please throw the bass away?
He was a stage mom, big time. She really encouraged me a lot. And, and if anybody, one of her friends or neighbors came over, she'd be like, this is my daughter, and she sings and she plays and she, and she'd brag about me and everything. So I drove her pretty crazy. She liked it because I'm always playing and singing in the room, bringing people over, bringing drummers over. Oy vey. And she didn't like it when I sang along with Geddy Lee or King Diamond. That she didn't like, but everything else she liked. She loved Ronnie James Dio. She actually became a huge Dio fan as well. And that's, one of my biggest vocal influences right there. A very bluesy singer too.
But in starting out in gigs, were you playing mainly rock gigs, mainly that style, that Iron Maiden style, or were you doing the blues right away?
Well, oddly enough, when I was like 19 years old, I wanted to work as a musician. So I got in a top 40 band. And so we were playing like Madonna and Paula Abdul and stuff and dressing up. And actually, that's how I learned to slap and pop. And because And I got my chops playing in top 40 because, you know, and we would play rock tunes too, whatever the popular rock tunes of the day. What was on the radio, man? That's what we played. And so, you know, I get bored. So I just start making stuff up. And then, you know, you playing some of these some of the Paul Abdul songs, man, had some pretty hit bass lines.
Yeah.
So I learned how to slap and pop at that time. And, you know, just working. Then later I was working in a top 40 band in Seattle in the 90s, and we were able to play whatever we wanted. So you had to play Brick House. You had to play, there were just certain songs that you had to play, you know, Very Superstitious, you know, you had to play all that stuff. But we also played some Black Sabbath. I sang Heaven and Hell in this band. We played Metallica. You know, so we did whatever we wanted. But when I moved back to Portland, is when, because I was up there, I was married, I got a divorce, you know, but came back to Portland around 2000. That's when, if you're a working musician and you're in Portland and you want paying gigs, you better learn to play the blues. So I fell in with some blues musicians, Linda Hornbuckle, Paul DeLay, Sonny Hess, leader of the Northwest Women Rhythm and Blues. And I started playing these bass lines and learning these songs. And I was like, wait a minute, this is what Jack Bruce was doing. Wait a minute, this is what John Paul Jones was doing. This is what Geezer Butler was doing. So it was like, wow, blew my mind. I had been like playing blues, you know, the British rock version of blues, you know, Roger Glover style.
Right.
I've been playing blues and didn't even know it. Didn't even know where it came from.
But you know, and the two things, well, for me, I'm a player. You know, I don't deny it from anybody. Even when I toured with Karen, what was the young lady who was with her? I can't remember her name. Karen's partner, or at least at that time.
Oh, is that the gal from Switzerland?
Yes.
Yeah. Her name escapes me. I adore her. I don't know.
Wonderful. She came out of tour and she had said to me, she says, you know, whenever you're playing with Karen, this is a rock. It's a rock band. I hear it.
That's what she likes, though.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to shuffle. She doesn't want to shuffle all day.
That's where I come from. And I'm saying that because the same thing, as I started to gig, I was doing a lot of jazz in New York. And but the gigs weren't paying any money, and it was the jazz scene, so good, so tough to get into. And I did some stuff with Nina Simone's rhythm section. And they were a jam night, and I started playing with them. And I can't remember his last name now. I think it was Gene Carter. He was the bass player, and he had the upright. And he said to me, you know, man, you got a good swing, you got a good shuffle. Get your shuffles together. You work all the time.
That's it.
That's how I started doing blues gigs, a lot of blues gigs. And I kind of walked in that middle ground. Like one of the girls I play with around here is Tasha Owens. I don't know if you've heard her name. She's like big Detroit diva. And she does an R&B blues show, but she closes her set with a bunch of Zeppelin. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Yeah,
well, there's a soul singer around here. She does Generals Gathered in Their Masses.
Yeah.
That in her set too.
And really, Zeppelin is a blues band with harder hitting drums. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They on them, you know, was
Zeppelin, Sabbath, all that stuff. Yeah,
all blues stuff. Anyway, so here's a great question I like to ask, and I asked this to Sandy. So, can you remember? Was there? I know where my moment was, and I'll share that in a minute. But the moment that you said, "Okay, for better or worse, I'm going to be a musician. This is my road. This is it." And this is the thing that relates to doctors, lawyers, where you decide, "Yep, this is my road. This is it."
No, I was too young. I was too young to remember that.
All right.
I was too young to remember that because I was probably 7, 8. I don't know. I just knew that's what I was going to do. I used to sneak out of bed in the middle of the night and go downstairs and turn on AM radio. You know, them big old console things, you know? And I would turn on the AM radio and I would lay with my head next to the speakers and turn them down as far as I could so my parents wouldn't wake up and just listen to music. And I'd wake up and sometimes in the morning still laying there, you know? And it was just, I became a big Kiss freak at 7 years old. It was probably when I became a big Kiss fan, because it was Gene Simmons and he was breathing fire,
Yeah.
you know. And I had a rough upbringing. My mom was really sick. My dad was abusive, frankly, you know. I had a rough early childhood, and I think just seeing that power, you know, here's this guy just roaming all over the stage, you know. You see Led Zeppelin, they're just taking it all on, you know.
Right.
It's powerful. It's powerful imagery. And so, you know, and for me, but though it was just, I just heard the music, I heard the bass, I heard the singing, and I just, that's what, it's not like I'm going to do this. It was like, I am doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. I still to this day, I feel safest on stage.
Wow.
That's the place I belong. And I think, you know, it's actually your gender that, well, I was a kid, shy kid. My parents got divorced. My dad sort of didn't see much of him, that kind of thing. Similar to you. And I was very shy, kind of getting picked on, that whole thing. And I got into this garage band in the neighborhood, like when I was 13, 14. And I remember playing Feel Like Making Love by Bad Company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great tune. But here's the thing. Marcy Catoro, her name now is Marcy Sedlacco. We're still friends, actually, on Facebook. She had a note passed to me that said she wanted to go to the mall and have lunch.
Ooh, yeah. It's like
shy kid came out. Yeah. Okay, this is fun, and women like it. Okay, I could do this. That was it. Just stayed.
That's what's funny, because I read a lot of biographies and interviews with rock stars and stuff, and they always say, "It's good to get some chicks."
Yeah.
Gene Simmons, like, why did you want to be? You were a school teacher. Why did you want to become a rock star? Like, get chicks.
Yeah. Although now I'm 58, and so I don't even think women know if I'm playing anymore. I actually played a show. You know Dick Wagner, the Maestro rock and roll guy. You know him. He used to play with Alice Cooper.
Okay, yeah.
And then he played with Lou Reed, and he wrote actually Only Women Bleed, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, yes, brilliant.
So touring with him at one point, playing a theater upstate in Michigan, and we had an intermission in the show, and I go to the lobby for a second, and to show you how so few people know anymore, a woman gave me her plate to take to the bar. She thought I was away. so much for the there goes my ego. Anyway.
Oh, man.
Now the songwriting, how did that come along? Were you always songwriting, or when did you? Do you know what your first song was? Do you give me some history on how you developed as a songwriter?
Well, the first song I wrote, actually, this is so corny. I was in a crossover thrash punk band in 1986 with some friends of mine. It was a band called Dead Conspiracy, and we played at this local club called the Satyricon, and it was like our local CBGB. I mean, the bathrooms were just as gross as CBGB. So I wrote a song. It was like a punk rock kind of sounding song, and it was about the bus and taking the bus and how high the bus fare was or something. It was something really stupid. So I didn't really write songs. It was really corny. So I didn't write a lot of songs, and I never really considered myself a songwriter until it was like 2005 or something. I started writing some tunes. I wrote some country songs and some pop songs and some rock songs. and a couple of blues songs. And I went in a studio with a friend of mine, a guitar player, Jeff Knudsen, and we just put them all together. And I called it self material because it was just all this stuff. So it's just a mishmash. So the two first records that I made were actually just, it was like arena rock and a country song and a blues song. It was just all over the freaking map. So then I made a compilation of just the more blues and roots related songs. And that became the Lisa Mann CD, my first official release, you know? So I just write stuff. Basically, if I hear something, I'll record it on my phone, I'll sing it on my phone, or now I have a recording, you know, program. And I just listen to it and let it tell me what it wants to do.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter what style it is. It's hard for me to just say, I want to write a song in this style.
Which do you like best? Do you like performing your own stuff or playing behind a Karen or one of the other many people you played behind?
Well, yeah, I mean, I like performing my own stuff because I get to be the boss. But there's also, you know, I get to tell everybody what to do with the bass. You know, you get to put the hook in the drummer's nose.
Right.
You know, I'm a very bossy bass player, and actually, when I play with other drummers that don't work with my band, they have to get, you know, it depends. If I hire a drummer to work with me that hasn't worked with me, a lot of them, they're used to setting the tempos, holding things together, whereas, you know, they play with me and I'm kind of like, you're here, play here, you know.
Right.
So that, okay. And then so when I'm subbing with other people with somebody else's band, I have to reel that back and go, no, Lisa, you are not here to tell the drummer what to do. You need to let them, you know, pull you along.
Right.
So I have to put a different hat on. And so that's really fun too. And I do enjoy playing with different drummers. You know, like I've played the BMA, Blues Music Awards, a few times. I got to play with Tony Bronigal, Jimmy Bott. Got to play with Tony Coleman from B.B. King's band a few times. You know, so I just love playing with different drummers and seeing Butch Cousins. You know, just seeing what are they? What's your thing? Where are you? And get in that kick drum.
Right. Well, and for me, excuse me, I'm a consummate freelancer. My joke is to everybody, I have commitment issues, so I don't really want to join anybody's band, you know. But the good news is I work all the time because somebody always needs a drummer, right?
Yep.
Not in the pandemic, but before that and working with different people and getting to work with a lot of different bass players, especially with cruise ships, you always had different people in. It changes how you play. It changes how you approach things. If there's one particular bass player I know, he's a great player, but he definitely plays ahead. So when I'm playing, make sure I play behind it just to keep it from moving too far. So I kind of anchor him a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually said that to him. He doesn't even know he does it. You know, like
push pull. My drummer does that with me too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fronty, you know, and so it's like this nice push pull. Especially if I'm singing something really complex while I'm playing. You know, it depends on what it is. And we've had conversations. Michael Ballish is the drummer. He's got a jazz background. He's here in Portland, so I work in Portland with him. Dave Millian, I go out on the road with him. He plays with Karen Lovely a lot too. He's the shuffle master. So I just let people know, hey, during these parts, you know, hold me down.
Right.
Because I'm trying to sing this crazy ass thing and play this crazy line at the same time. So yeah, it's like this nice.
That's really good though that you here hold me back, because when you work on cruise ships, it's always the drummer's fault. Doesn't matter what's going on, it's always the drummer's fault. You want to take that blame all the time.
Man.
Especially when I played in the orchestra and there'd be 6 horn players, and if they were pushing a line, it was me against them.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to fight the 6 guys, you know, no, and not get pulled along a little bit. And then if you let them pull you, you got yelled at later by the music director.
You were speeding up.
Yeah.
It was you.
Until I became music director, then I got even.
Yeah. Well, you know, my husband is a bass player. He plays with Sugar Ray Rayford. Just got nominated for a Grammy last year. He's got a drummer, Lavelle Jones, used to play with Seal, a few other, big artists, and he's a monster, but he will, push sometimes.
Right.
He's super aggressive player, really phenomenal player. And so, the Sugar Ray will lean on my husband to like keep the drummer in line, and vice versa. And it's like, kind of, he'll dance in front of him and stare him down and like point his finger at him. He's like, what can I do? I can't go back there and like hit the damn drums myself.
Let's talk about that for a second. Does your husband play full-time too? Is he a full-time musician?
Yes. Yeah, he's a full-time working musician, has been. He was in New York for a while. He played with recently passed Rafael Cruz, Latin jazz. So my husband has a real Latin jazz background, but he got into the blues scene too here. So
what's his name? You might give him a shout out on this. What's his name?
Alan Markel.
Alan Markel.
Hello, Alan Markel.
So
yeah.
Now,
my nice Jewish boy.
Unfortunately for me, even though women helped me start in this business, I've not. Well, I mean, I was married for a little while, but women don't seem to like the music lifestyle. So, I mean, now you're married to a musician, so that's different. How do you guys coordinate? I mean, are you on the road a lot? Is he on the road a lot? Tell me something about the dynamics in working, having a successful relationship and successful music careers. I've only been able to do one of those two things. So,
and I've said it before, band chicks, man, just irritate the hell out of me. So I'm lucky to work with guys that they have partners that are really understanding. And especially drummer Dave, my road drummer, his girlfriend totally gets it. So we don't tour that much. We did have 3 tours short. I tend to go out for shorter, just a few weeks at a time, just a couple times a year. And so we had 3 of them though that were canceled this year. Right. But my husband, he would be gone for 3 months at a time. It was hard, but we had, Facebook Messenger and the video, you put the funny little cat head on, and, the little,
right.
Yeah. So we'd have fun with that and stay in touch that way. It was hard, but I get it, and because that's what I do too.
Right.
So but a lot of women, they can't deal with that. I understand that,
And I would see their point of view, but sometimes when they, well, why don't you do something else? I would always get that question.
That's why don't you be somebody else?
Yeah. Because, one of my good friends on cruise ships that I met, his name is Peter. He played. I know I'm old. I'm like 158 years old or something like that now. I think.
Okay, I'm only 152 years old.
So you look great though. I look like I'm 50 years older than I am. That's how I feel.
Smoke and mirrors, man. Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. But I had a dude named Peter. He used to. I thought he sounded like Pete Fontaine. You know Pete Fontaine?
Pete Fontaine.
In the big band days.
I don't know.
I cut my teeth on big band music coming up. So
yeah, I don't know big band music.
Yeah. And I guess he once said these words to me. He said, for other people, they go to work, they come home, but you're always a musician. Whether you're walking down the street getting a cup of coffee, you're a musician.
Yeah.
So when your partner, whoever it is, says, could you do something else? You're right. It's saying, could you not be you?
Yeah.
Be somebody else for me. And that would always, because I'm a stubborn Italian bastard, that would usually be the time I would leave. That would be, no, I can't do it.
No, I would leave too. I would recommend that you leave.
So Lisa, have you ever done anything else except music, or you've just played?
I have. I have. Yeah. I delivered pizzas at a young age.
I do Uber sometimes.
I worked there you go. I worked at a video store briefly as a youngster. I did a couple other jobs that are popular here in Portland, Oregon, that you could do in your spare time. I also was a water commissioner for 4 years. I ran for
Water
public
commissioner.
office and I was a water commissioner.
I'm talking to royalty. I'm in Michigan. Flint needs you.
Oh man, yeah, no kidding. Well, we're in a blessed situation here. But yeah, there was a big water project. We didn't want it. There's deformed fish where they wanted to take the water out, and somebody asked me to run, so I ran, and I was actually playing a gig at a bar, and the lead singer goes, "Hey, Lisa just won. She's the water commissioner." I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to be here." Yeah.
People don't realize, even though, I mean, there's a lot of musicians, but the community really have kind of worked. And when I interviewed Sammy Gennaro, I told him this is it's like we're the people who dig the trenches. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not known like John Bonham is known or anything like that, but we're playing gigs all the time.
Yeah.
But we actually do know, like you knew Joe Veloz. We know a lot. We not like we're having coffee with each other, but there's a community here. And which brings me to my next point, and I want to bring it up because not that a lot of professions have been hit by this whole thing, but musicians have been hit really hard.
Yeah.
I make a lot of my living by teaching, and that's cut in half. And of course, gigs are almost non-existent. We open up in Michigan, and I get to do 1 or 2, and then I'm back into the house. So, how are you handling, and your husband, time? Are you doing streaming? Have you been doing recording? Tell me some of the projects that you've gotten involved in during this.
Well, oddly enough, I had just released my debut heavy metal album under the name White Crone. White Crone the Poisoner. I played the guitars, played the bass, wrote songs, all that stuff. I just debuted that in February. So, and then it was September that I released a new blues EP. So a lot of what I've been doing, like at the computer, has been promotion. So I've been doing a lot of promotion. I actually took some kind of classes online about, from a couple of PR guys about social media marketing. So I've learned about that. My husband and I've been he's been helping me do streaming, live streams, where I'm just playing it's just me. Every now and then we'll social distance and bring the band over. So I've done a couple of organized. I did one in the UK, one in Washington State that are organized like festivals, online festivals. But mostly we just stream from home. He's learned about streaming software and how to use streaming software and how to put text, and extra videos inside, like, OBS software. I've learned how to do more video editing. So, we just have to, and this is what I keep telling my friends that I see that are really kind of spiraling downward, because it's a community and we have a lot of musician friends. Is that we cannot focus on what we can't do, because if we sit there, I can't do this and I can't do that, I can't play my gigs, I can't see my friends, I can't, you know what I mean? It's like banging your head against the wall. We have to focus on what we can do and try to figure a way forward from there. So I've been, trying to sell my CDs online. I've been trying to get on more Spotify playlists and stuff like that, so I can get some more of that, mailbox money kind of stuff.
Right.
And and I've oddly been busy at times. I set my alarm today. I'm like, hey, I'm going to talk to Glenn today. Hey, I got something to do. So this is great.
The whole reason I started a video channel was because of the pandemic, right? Because I didn't want to sit home doing nothing. And actually, between this and teaching and whatever little other things I've got to do to make ends meet, I'm actually getting busy again, which is all right. And I'm not living as well as I did before, because I'm not really making any money off the channel yet. But I started the channel doing a bunch of technique, and then I got to think. And the YouTube community is finite too. Guys kind of reach out to you when they see you're a new guy, and they talk and they get to know you. And I get to know a few guys, and but I started to tell them, like, and I did one, but like, why does there need to be another Rosanna? Demonstrate how to play Rosanna Shuffle video. There's like 90 million of them, and they're all fine. You know what? And wouldn't you rather see the Jeff Beccaro one anyway? And so, like, even on mine, I have a demonstration of 50 ways to leave your lover, and I got to hang out with Steve Gadd a bunch of times. But who wants to see mine when you can watch Gadd's video? You know what I mean? Doing that. So I interviewed, just as a fluke, I interviewed Donnie Brown, who was the drummer for the Verve Pipe.
Cool.
Lives about an hour from me. So I went, we set up a live thing, and we did the 6 feet apart and everything. And that got like over 1,000 hits.
Yeah.
And then I got San Janeiro. And then I thought, oh, okay, this seems like it's more fun. And now I'm not just doing technique and I still am doing the technique videos. I got one I'm going to be releasing a little later today, which is about a polyrhythm. But I didn't want to be in that camp. I didn't want to be the little fish in the giant ocean.
Oh yeah.
It let me do the interviews because there's only a handful of guys doing that, and I think I'll have more fun doing it anyway.
Cool.
Anyway, let's talk about drummers. I like to do.
What the hell are you doing back there?
Yeah. So I really enjoy your playing, Lisa. I enjoyed the stuff that you did. I'm not sure because I only got to listen to the tunes that she sent me MP3, but I don't know. Did you play on all Karen Lovely's stuff or some of it?
No, I never played on any of her recordings.
Oh, okay.
If I recall, I don't think all I've done is fill in for her. Really. That's all I actually don't, now I've run into an issue because I've done some high profile gigs with Karen where people have said, oh, you're Karen Lovely's bass player. Drive my limousine to the dusty roads. There's no turning back to the life I had, living on behind. When really, I've just played with her a couple times a year.
Right.
You know, but we did some high profile gigs. You know, we played, you know, we played the Blues Music Awards. We've played in Switzerland. We played in Germany.
That was really cool. I watched the entire Switzerland thing. That was really cool. What happened with that? How did that?
Was that the one in Berghausen?
I remember you had that. I don't want to say his last name wrong. Dave Mel.
Oh, Dave Mellion.
Yeah,
Dave Mellion. That's the guy who tours with me.
Yeah,
he
was on drums. You were on bass. There was a really good keyboard player. I can't remember his name.
He's my ex-husband.
Dave?
Yeah.
Oh my! We won't have. We'll cut it out. No, I'll probably post it up on top.
No, it's fine. Everybody knows. We know. They know. You know, but we're buddies. We're still buddies. No, that was fantastic. That's a really fantastic gig. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. You know, we've done that. We did that gig. We did Berghausen. And it's just, I mean, they fly you out there. In Europe, they spend money on music. Yeah. They subsidize music. They subsidize music education. You know, unlike in heavy metal, you know, these American guys are wondering, why are these Swedish guys kicking our ass?
Right.
Because the evils of socialism, they're teaching their kids how to play music at a young age. You know, they're spending money on it.
My dad calls me a socialist all the time. That's my dad's favorite guy is Lou Dobbs. You know what I mean? So
no.
I'm the socialist. I'm the socialist. I mean,
it's just public. It's really an investment. Yeah. It's an investment. You know, and they bring people over, you know, that Americans, they want American music. They want American roots music. There's a fan base for it. They love it. Sugar Ray Rayford, man, he's huge in Europe. He's huge in France. He's even learning how to speak French because he's over there all the time. You know, so when they brought us over there, they put us in a nice room. You know, you need to be at your sound check on time and you need to be on stage on time. And, you know, there's certain things that are, you know, they require of you, but you get this wonderful meal. You know, the sponsors will take you out to dinner. you know, even in Basel, there was a gentleman that would take us on a tour of the city during the day.
Ooh.
So you know, it's just fun. And I got to go back. Yeah, so I've gotten to go back to Basel, and it looks like I'll be back there in a couple of years. They book like years in advance too. So yeah, it's just really special to go to Europe. UK's tough. UK is more like the US. There's not, you know, public investment. There's not like the city isn't going to pay for a concert series kind of thing. So it's been it was a little tougher to string together a good paying gig. So it was more like an all expenses paid trip to England. But hey, you know, you're driving down the highway and hey, Castle.
Right.
You know, you don't get to do that in the Midwest. Hey, look, Castle, let's take a Castle selfie, you know.
I actually got to spend a lot of time in Europe, but it was through Carnival Cruise Lines. We were over there, and I was on the first Carnival European ship. I got invited out to do that ship, and
It was like the Black Sea or something, or
the Mediterranean. It was
the Mediterranean.
we were stationed in Italy, and I'm a paisan. I actually met some relatives that I'd never met in my life. In 1904, my family split. Some came to the U.S. and some stayed in Sicily. And so I got to meet those people. It was really, really, really cool. So I got to spend a lot of time in Europe. I'm a Europe fan. If you know, I'm out to God's ear, if the channel took off and I started interviewing Ringo and Paul or something, and I made a lot of money, I would probably retire in southern Italy. It's the most beautiful place in the world.
Yeah.
It's just
beautiful.
incredible. And I spent some time in Barcelona, where the musicians, if they qualify, they get paid. They get paid to play. You'll see them on the Ramble in Barcelona with their bands, but they're getting like a weekly paycheck from the government to be a musician in Spain.
Wow.
It's like a job. It's incredible. And they're studying their craft. They're really good because they have time to work on their craft because they're getting paid to do that.
And valued. They're valued.
Yeah. And I think it brings the culture up. So back to drummers. So because I know you play with a lot of drummers, just like I've played with a lot of bass players, and there's sometimes you get on stage with a bass player, and because I'm the consummate freelancer, many times a year I play with people that I've never met before, or half the band I've never met before, and I've played with them before, and I think sometimes I'm happily surprised, and sometimes I think, okay, I can't wait till this gig is done.
Yeah, oh God, I've got another week with this guy.
Yeah, so, and then we're not talking about now personalities, I'm talking about, and this is for you drummers out there, because I'm one of you, I want you to listen up, because I learned a lot. You're on stage with a drummer, and what is he doing that you want to throw something at him? What is pissing you off?
Stickity, 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 stickity. What the hell?
What do you mean, overplaying?
Yeah, like what? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
All right, so we got that. Overplaying. That's one check. What else?
Yeah. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun, 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 dun. Or wait, no, this one too, and you know who you are. You know, you do a fill and you speed up the fill, and so it's like a stair step. I call it the stair step. Every time he does a fill, he speeds up, and the song goes faster.
Right. Well, you know, when I'm in the office, I listen to a local drummer, and the guys who there's guys who every 4 bars take a fill and a cymbal crash, like every 4 bars. Doesn't matter what's going on. Like, nah, just leave. Way back when I used to work with RCA Records, and I used to play with Kid Creole, and that was when I was a young guy, like 19. I worked with Billy Evermore, who was one of the producers of Toto. This is
wow.
I worked with him before he was with Toto, and he was writing stuff. And I actually am on the demo somewhere, which never got heard of, the original Hold the Line. I recorded it in New York with him, and then but when I recorded it, it wasn't in 12/8, and when Toto did it, it was in 12/8. So he actually took my cymbals off the kit.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then his thing was, I only want one cymbal crash, and that's before the last chorus.
Huh.
And that was my I was young. I was like 20 years old, and it was like an intro to really pop playing. To just lay it in, 2 and 4, work with the click, and then I had one fill. I won't forget it. 40 and the 1. That was my fill. Crash on the last chorus, and then when you hear it, when I would hear it back, it sounded like an explosion happened because the whole time was just keeping the groove, and all of a sudden, wow,
it became special.
Yes.
Made it special.
Okay, so let's talk. Let's talk about the positive.
Yeah.
What do you? I know you work with that Dave, your ex-husband.
Dave, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's great about Dave? Here's the thing: is he and I were in that rock band in Seattle years and years ago.
All right.
So he was a rock guy, and his heroes were like the guy from Heart, Judas Priest, Bill Ward, guys like that. So, later on, he ended up in the blues scene here in Portland too.
The Monkeys Are Me tune. I really like what he's doing on that, by the way.
Isn't he great? Isn't he
he
great?
Yes.
Yeah. So he is a shuffle encyclopedia. If you guys sat together somewhere, if you ever had a chance to have a conversation with him, it's like this vortex, because he'll go, and you'll start talking about, he'll go, oh, that's the Texas so-and-so shuffle. Oh, and that's the shuffle that so-and-so played on so-and-so's album. And he's like that. And it's because a long time, he ended up in the same blues scene with me after we broke up. And, he was playing with other gigs. And somebody gave him some feedback at a jam and said, oh, dude, you don't know how to shuffle. And then he was like, well, I'll show you. And
right.
Listening to the music. And that's the thing that, I get on Facebook and there's all these bass player forums and stuff. And people, how do you play this style and how do you play that style? And I say, man, just listen to the music. Just listen to it. You want to play in a reggae band? Then go buy a bunch of reggae albums and listen to them. Don't just, I'm going to pick up my instrument or I'm going to, start playing this. It's just sit back and let it wash over you. And then you will absorb it and you will see, oh, that guy isn't playing a fill every 4 bars. Oh, okay. It's not a triplet. It's almost a dotted eighth. Hello? Wow. See, that was the big revelation for Dave, is that somebody explained that to him, said it's not a triplet, shuffle.
No,
so you got to knock that out of your head, and once he did, it's like, oh, it's somewhere in between that dotted eighth and the triplet. It was like his shuffle, gang, 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 gang. It started happening, man. Right. And now he is the guy. He is the go-to guy. If you want a shuffle drummer, between him and Jimmy Bott, those guys are like the go-to guys now.
And shuffles, I do a thing on my channel. Shuffles, you can listen to different guys. Like Tony Williams from Miles, his shuffles were really tight. They were dotted 16s. But then if you listen to Art Blakey, they were closer to the triplet. So you can really do a wide variety of something. And
that's where listening to the musicians that you happen to be working with, because you have a broad palette to draw from.
Amen.
So, oh, that guy's over here in this zone. So I'm going to take this tool and I'm going to apply that right here, because this guy has this kind of feel. So this is going to feel, it's about making it feel good. And that's the bottom line, is like, is somebody playing for the song? Are they playing to make the song sound good, or are they trying to make themselves sound good? And
Choose
Yeah,
One-
Dave's really he's really his old blues dudes. You know, like Willie Big Eyes Smith.
Oh
These
yeah, yeah.
like these guys that I don't even know who they are. I'd heard them, you know, the guys that played with Muddy Waters
I
and
met Willie Big Eye
Buddy
Smith.
Guy. And, oh yeah,
Yeah, I got to when I was in Memphis. Bob Margolin saw me playing and invited,
yeah,
and I ended up sitting in with Bob Margolin and his band, and we did a couple of shuffles.
Eddie Rowland.
We played with Jennifer Magnus that night. And
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
think that's cool because we did a thing during the Blues Music Awards a while back. It was me and Janova and Bob Margolin and T.J. Norton, her harmonica player sweetheart, and yeah, that was sublime. It was really nice.
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't have a drummer, so I just kind of had to hold that shit down. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, Janova, man, isn't she a hoot?
I
Can
only
anybody
met her that
swear
one
like
night.
Janova?
I only met her that one night, and I remember playing 2 shuffle tunes. But
Yeah.
I was at the Hard Rock Cafe, and Bob was at Rum Boogies.
Yeah, yeah.
And he happened to come in on break, and and he left a note for like the door guy who said, "Tell the guitar player and the drummer if they want to come." He didn't invite the whole band, so he just said, "Tell her."
You
He
and
said,
you.
yeah, he said to tell the guitar player and the drummer if they want to come and sit in to come over after their set.
That's awesome.
When I went in, I came in, and then Willie Big Eye was playing, and I got to say this about Willie: his snare and the ride he was using were the 2 oldest drums. But they sounded fantastic.
Civil War era.
Oh man, the snare was dirty, and the cymbal was just like rusted out. But after I was done, I couldn't help but play a chord note shuffle on there. It sounded so good. And one of my claim to fame is that when I was done, Bob turned over and said, "Hey, nice shuffle, man. Nice shuffle." And I'm saying, it's because of that cymbal. That's the reason right there. So
No, I don't know, man. That's you. That's all you.
no, it's
Mark Olin tell you do a good job, man. And he's
no.
not quick with compliments neither. So
He's a
That's
nice
awesome.
guy. He's a nice guy. So I mean, it's this community. I never met you, but we played with the same people.
I know it's funny.
So it's not that as big a community as people think, and that's why we kind of stick together. And that's part of the reason for these interviews, to get people like you and me. So I consider we're team players. You know.
Yeah.
When I come to play with your band, my job is not to make Glenn sound good. It's to make, if I'm playing with Lisa Mann, to make that band sound good. We're supposed to be like the Beatles. We're supposed to be incredible. And so if that means I just play oompa oompa for the entire tune, then that's what I do. Because that's the goal. We're a team. And as a bass player, you're part of that. And bass and drums, hey, sometimes we have to do the same thing for 4 minutes and 25 seconds. That's our job. We play the same line over and over. We don't take any fills. And we get the job done because that's what serves the song.
Yeah.
But talking to Sandy, like when he played with Cyndi Lauper and some of these people, we were honest about, I got to be, even when I'm playing, you know Thornetta Davis?
I do know Thornetta Davis.
Yeah, I play with her around here sometimes too.
I love her to pieces.
Yeah. So, matter of fact, there's a clip on Backstage Pass of Karen and Thornetta and me and Joe on stage with him and Ben Rice. It's
Little Benny Rice.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Ben. I just did a live stream with Ben.
But I'm going to call Karen and Ben, and I'm going to do an interview with the 2 of them. We're going to get them on for a double shot.
Oh, cool! Right on.
Yeah, yeah. So the whole idea is that we are the team players. Bass and drums, we're supposed to get in there. And I was with Sandy, and he said it. When you're playing with Cyndi Lauper, nobody cares who the drummer is. They don't care. They're there to see Cyndi. Your job is to make her sound good. And that's our job. And so I'm bringing us out some interviews for other guys who are trying to do this, that yes, it's really difficult, but you can make a living doing this. It's not easy, especially now, but you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. So,
and you know what? Just as a side, they shouldn't notice you in some ways. And as a bass player, there's times like I just played with a drummer, with a friend of mine, Catherine Grimm, Charlie, his name was, and I told him after the gig, I said, I barely noticed you.
Right.
You know, because we're just playing music. He's a musical guy playing the songs. At no point did I turn around and go, what the hell are you doing back there? So you just want people they want to hear that's the song, the Cyndi Lauper song.
Right.
I'm listening to a song and not, what's that? You know,
Right.
what is that?
You get on stage, and what is the drummer doing? And you're going, oh yeah, I can play with this guy.
Yeah, and every now and then, and sometimes, that's why there was a guy named Tracy Arrington who sadly passed away. He played bass with Curtis Salgado for quite a long time. And, you know, people told me before I saw him, this is years ago, they said, Tracy's MFer, you know, you got to go see this dude because he's got chops, you know, blow you away. And so I go see the band, and for the first, you know, 45, 50 minutes, he's like, gun, 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 gun. And I'm like, all right, you know, yeah, solid, dude. Yeah, dude is solid. And at one point, you know, they did some funk, you know, kind of a funk note because he does a lot of soul. And he, okay, Tracy Arrington solo bass. And he comes out and it's like Victor Wooten time, you know, and I'm like, wow, it just steamrolled everybody. And of course the crowd goes, yeah, you know, and then he went right back to boom, 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 you know. It was great. And so I love that when somebody can just, you know, it's like they hold it back. It's not 100% all the time. I think singers too, you know, I try to advise when younger singers or newer singers are asking advice what to do. It's like, just sing the song. You don't have to be, oh, you don't have to be Christina Aguilera all the time. Just sing the song. And then at the end of the song, the last verse, you know, go ahead, go crazy. Go crazy. Like that, the Toto thing. It's like, I don't want to fill until the end.
Right.
Then you're going to have a fill. So you're going to ramp things up and make it big. Now, I can say all this stuff, and then you listen to some of my music, and I'm like, bass, you know, and it's busy. Everything's busy. But that's because, you know, in that situation, I'm the boss, and I can be.
Right.
I can overplay as much as I want now.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Song, but I'm not going to do that to your song.
Yeah. Anyway, it was really good to meet you. I'm glad we did. Maybe we'll get to play together one day. Who knows? You never know. Things happen.
I'm sure we will, because, you know, like you said, this is like a big family. It's a big community.
Well, when things keep working for you, we'll stay in touch, and I'll send you a shout out when this is ready to load up onto YouTube. Probably about 2 weeks or so.
Okay, that's great. It's nice talking to you today.
Yeah, nice talking to you too.
Great, man.
Bye-bye.
All right, take it easy.
Bye.
Bye. No sanctuary found, but any hollow ground won't even make a sound. The poisoner, his traces ever clean. He knows just where you've been, never remains unseen. The poisoner. When you smile, then the spell has been cast. Oh, yes, it has. And here we are, baby, in heaven. For you are mine at last. Oh, my sweet, sweet, sweet darling.